And the newly minted state legislature must hit the ground running once new members are sworn into office. The situation will give the fresh-faced lawmakers an opportunity to offer solutions to the state's problems.
The culmination of Tuesday's vote results in a legislature with a major portion of its membership entering the House and Senate with little or no governing experience. While Republicans held on to their supermajority, this will be a different look for the legislature.
I think you're going to see a different face on the legislature. You're going to see in the Democratic caucus, there's going to be more of an urban slant to the views and policies just by the makeup of the Democratic caucus. On the other side, you're going to see the Democratic legislators need to work with those urban and rural Republicans, and they've got to come up with some ideas and some solutions that will work.
It also means a new relationship between lawmakers and the governor's office to help set the agenda and priorities.
I do believe that with a brand new governor who has no experience in government, he's going to rely on Speaker McCall and Pro Tem Treat to really help him put together his agenda. It would be new and exciting for the governor's office and the fourth floor of the state capitol to all be on the same page and be moving in the same direction on large policies.
While Senator A.J. Griffin is no longer in the Senate, she advises new lawmakers should stay in their lane and use their real-world experiences effectively.
If they're an expert in a particular area, try to limit their work to that area in which they already bring in expertise to the legislature. That's the beauty of the legislative process, is whenever everybody brings their skill and their talent to the table, and then they share that understanding with each other and then try to put out a good work product at the end of the day.
Former State Representative Joe Dorman is optimistic about what's ahead for the new lawmakers.
I, for one, am excited about the opportunity with this new legislature and a new governor. It's not going to be the business as usual. We have the opportunity to make great gains in Oklahoma if people will work together.
He advises they will need to look at what didn't work in the past to address high rates of adverse childhood experiences, education, and healthcare issues in Oklahoma.
If these new lawmakers will do their history and do their research, I think they will have some great opportunities to correct some of the things that we've seen in Oklahoma.
The new legislators will face information overload as they begin to get their bearings under the Capitol dome.
And new members need to develop a skill of discernment very quickly. Everybody's trying to sell you their ideas and that their idea is the right idea, so they need to develop that skill of discernment.
Women also will have a major influence on policy as more of them than ever join the ranks of lawmakers.
Well, we increase the number of women that are going to be serving in both chambers. That's good for bipartisanship. The women in the legislature have a reputation, a well-earned reputation for being bipartisan in nature, carrying the pieces of legislation together and supporting each other's ideas. I think that growth of women in the chambers will improve the bipartisan work that we're going to see out of our legislature.
A portion of the legislative freshman class are part of the Education Caucus. Dorman believes their experience will have an impact on policy.
These new lawmakers, who are also former educators, are going to make certain that education is a priority. They're going to look at ways that we can improve the educational system.
Dorman believes education and the state's revenue structure will be priorities.
The new legislature obviously will have to look at education issues. The gauntlet's been dropped there, and there was a commitment to look at doing an overall $10,000 pay raise over a 3-year period, so hopefully that will be addressed again. They're going to have to look at the tax structure and our base of how we operate with our finances.
Griffin agrees education will remain a priority in part because of the result of the election.
Education is an important topic. It's always going to be the priority in the Oklahoma legislature. It's our biggest expenditure. It's always the priority, but there are some other things that are directly related to the performance of kids in the classroom that are really outside of the classroom.
Griffin believes lawmakers also have the chance to make some meaningful changes in criminal justice reforms.
Well, I don't want to see us stall out and lose momentum on criminal justice reform. And in my opinion, criminal justice reform centers around improving and strengthening the network of mental health providers across the state.
The voter turnout will also play out as the legislature begins to get to work. Voters will be looking over the shoulders of those they sent to the Capitol to see if they do the people's work.
With what we saw in turnout on Election Day, it was a significantly higher turnout with voters. I do believe the voters are going to stay more engaged. I believe that those individuals that want to see real change at the Capitol are going to be more engaged.
No matter what, the new lawmakers will have to hit the ground running. The deadline for requesting a draft of legislation is December 7th. The chambers will convene in January to begin organizing, and the beginning of the 57th legislature will be February 4th, 2019.